Update: my husband refused to forgive me due to a misunderstanding and divorced me. 9 years later, he discovered the truth and showed up at my doorstep. You guys are accusing me of still being into Nick. No, I'm not into him, but I do hate him, which I think is pretty freaking natural since I was literally married to this guy before he abandoned me. Of course, I told Chris about that text. I'm not a cheater and never have been, so I definitely would share something like that with my husband. It goes without saying that I love him more than anything in the world and I wouldn't do any such thing that would put my marriage in danger. The only reason I'd even open the door to Nick in the first place is that I have a bad habit of not checking who's out there, especially when my husband's home. I'm working on it, but that being said, I would never knowingly let Nick back into my life. I don't want him back in my life either, so it's sickening that people are accusing me of doing that. I hope this clears things up. Update 5: Nick dropped by again, and I didn't open the door this time without checking who it was first. Luckily, my daughter was out with my husband to meet his parents, and I was supposed to accompany them but got caught up with work. When I realized it was Nick standing out there, I told him through the door that he needed to leave and that he wasn't welcome here anymore. I thought I'd made myself pretty clear when I said that, and it meant that he was supposed to leave, but he refused to listen. He told me that he was in town just for a couple more weeks and then he'd be in another country. I was confused as to why he was telling me this since I didn't really care, but then he said that this would be convenient for us. He said that I didn't need to fight it anymore and that we could finally get together now. I couldn't believe that he was standing right outside my house and asking me to cheat on my husband. I was appalled and disgusted and immediately said that he had 3 seconds to leave, or else I'd call the police. Once again, he didn't take it seriously and decided to stay, so I ended up calling the police, and they had to take him away. I'm glad my daughter wasn't there to witness it, but I did call my husband up immediately. Chris came back within half an hour and made sure I was all right. I was okay, just a little shaken by what had happened. I don't even know how he found out where I lived. The friend who told him about Joe being married to someone else wasn't even close enough to me to know that I was married, let alone know where I live, so it couldn't have been him. But now I'm feeling weird and uncomfortable in my own home, and I hate it. I'm lucky that he's here only for a few more weeks, and I'm counting on that to make him stay away. It isn't even myself that I'm worried about the most, it's my daughter. I'm not saying that he'd put us in danger, he doesn't seem psycho yet, but I surely wouldn't put it past him. Even today, while I was hiding out in the living room and waiting for the cops to arrive, he was begging me to give him one chance. He thought I was bluffing about the phone call and didn't buy it, even though he'd heard me reporting him on the call. I think that's just him being super delusional. Right now, my husband and I are considering amping up the security, and we're going to speak to his uncle who works in the police to get his advice on what to do next because this just took a super weird and creepy turn. I don't want to stick around to find out what he does next. I think I found out how Nick traced me. I talked to a couple of my college friends, and one of them happened to give out my address to Nick's old friend. She apologized to me several times when I told her what had happened and said that she'd forgotten to ask me first. I'm obviously still mad about it because her forgetfulness has led to a crapload of problems for me now. I'm taking a breather from this woman now because what she'd done was immensely stupid. You don't just give out people's addresses without asking them first. I think even second graders would know something as basic as that. I haven't heard from Nick after he was escorted off our property by the police, but we're still considering moving just in case he was lying about being here for only a few more weeks. Chris and I don't want to risk anything, especially since our daughter goes to school nearby, and I'm feeling incredibly paranoid and anxious about how this situation has turned out. So we're still considering a move, and the only thing holding us back, ironically, is our daughter. She loves our home and has been very upset ever since she learned that we might have to leave. Any tips on how to deal with this are welcome. Until then, we're just trying to figure out a way to make this work for us right now without compromising our safety. Nick has moved to Canada, and I've confirmed it with multiple people, so I know he's gone for sure. He's back on social media again, so that's how they all know what he's up to. He had texted me once after I called the cops on him only to tell me that he still believed something could have happened between us that day, but I was just too scared to let myself do anything. He told me that he'd wait for the day I'd realize, just like he did, that I still loved him and that my husband was just an obstacle in our way and nothing more. He even said that he'd be willing to adopt my daughter to show how devoted he was to me and sent me his address in Canada so I could reach out to him whenever I felt I was ready. I couldn't believe that people could be this delusional, but at least he was gone. He'd used a new number to text me, so I blocked that as well, and that was it. I no longer have to deal with his bullcrap or worry about him showing up at my house unannounced again. I'm mostly happy about the fact that we didn't have to move because my daughter is so happy that she gets to stay in the home that she loves. As long as she's happy and safe, I'm okay with everything, and now that I know we're not in any danger, I'm not that worried either. We're still keeping the security measures we'd taken in place, though, just to be doubly sure. Chris and I also read the last message that Nick had sent together. We were sitting on the couch, drinking wine, and watching our daughter play, and it honestly felt ridiculous that even after he'd seen my family, he still believed that I'd want him. I can't imagine how any human being can be so self-involved. I even sent Joe the text, and he had the same reaction as us. I'm still not speaking to my friend who gave him my address, though. What she done was very irresponsible, and as a mother herself, she should know better than that. Not only did she put me in a really tough spot but also my family, and that's something that I just cannot forgive her for. Anyway, my husband and I are planning a trip to the beach, my daughter's favorite place, in a few weeks so that we can let some steam off, which is much needed since these past couple of weeks were really very stressful for me and I feel like I've earned a break. I've been very busy with work, as has my husband, and I'm sure this will do us a lot of good. Thank you guys for all the love and support that you guys have been sending us. Much love.